Hi, I'm Samrat Bedi. This is my first video on this YouTube channel where I'm basically going to talk about my learnings as an investor and a trader in the stock market. I'm still a student trying to learn, and I'm going to share with you all in this YouTube channel about what all I'm learning about. The first video today is about a book I recently read called The Education of a Value Investor by Guy Spier. Guy Spier is the fund manager of the Aquamarine Fund, which has about $500 million in assets under management, which equates to about 45, 3,500, 4,000 crore rupees. And the fund has consistently beaten the index in the United States, which is the S&P 500. Guy Spier was an investment banker in the United States before he became a value investor. And that transition for him was extremely tough because he was taught to be an investment banker and he was taught economics, which does not apply to the stock market in reality, as a value investor. So, that transition that he had to face, that's what he talked about in his book. And I'm sharing with you all what I learned from that book. You can all read this book, and all of you will have different inferences about what the author is trying to say. The first thing I learned about is the concept of the outer scorecard and the inner scorecard. People are hugely driven by recognition. All of us want recognition. And due to this, there is a tendency of people to remain in crowds. Even in investing, people generally follow a theme in investing, which is a collective theme of the whole stock market. People are usually not willing to bet against what the crowd is saying. Guy Spier basically tells us that if you just invest your money where everyone is going at the moment, you might make money and you might be going along the index of your country, but you will never outperform. You will only outperform when you recognize where the crowd is going wrong or where an asset is deeply undervalued and no one is talking about it. That is how you're going to invest. And that is when you invest and then you're going to make a lot of money. When I did some research, I realized that one of the best investors in India, Mr. Vijay Kedia, he made most of his money in only three companies like Sarah Sanitary Ware, Aegis Logistics, Atul Auto. They were the three companies in which he made most of his wealth. He bought these companies around 2003, 2004, and they all went up for the next 4 5 years. Some 3x, one 5x, one 8x. But in 2008, when all the three stocks fell, they reached fairly close to their cost price, and I believe one went even below its cost price. And all basically what I noticed was that these three companies, they were not in a particular theme. Atul Autos was in a automotive industry which was out of favor many years in between. Even Sarah Sanitary Ware. Sanitary ware is not a sector where people are betting on in 2008 when the whole economy is down and the real estate has bottomed. In fact, sanitary ware is a sector people are trying to run away from. But due to his belief in the company, due to his belief in the management, he stuck to them, he did not panic, and all the companies 100xed from his 2003 cost price by 2014. And that's the kind of return which can be generated if you stick to your guts and go against the crowd. In 2008, the author Guy Spier, while he was managing his fund, noticed that people were panicking like crazy. Even an analyst who was working in his own firm panicked and sold his personal holdings, which basically shows no matter how intelligent you are, no matter what elite education you get from the best business schools all over the world, in the end, the state of mind that you need to have when the whole world is in sheer terror comes from within. That is where the concept of outer scorecard and inner scorecard sticks. If you are driven by crowd behavior, you will not make a lot of money in the stock market. And the problem is not that people should go against the crowd. If you think you cannot go against the crowd, why are you trying to outperform the index? Why not basically invest, for example, in India, the index fund, Nifty and Sensex? Everyone is a genius in the bull market, but everyone runs away in the bear market because their stocks underperform heavily. If you recognize your problems, that's the first step as an investor. Personally, I like to study and read when no one is around me. That's my comfort zone. When no one is around me, I like to study and read. I realize that as an investor or as a student of investments, investor does not mean you have a lot of money. Investor means your state of mind and what the future holds for you. And I know my future as an investor is bright. I may be wrong, I have the right to be wrong, but I understand my capabilities and I stick to it. Then you have to understand that stock market is a game of probability. In the end, no one knows what's going to happen to a company. Anything can go wrong at any time. That's the mentality you need to have in your mind. So if you invest in companies that have moats around them, moats are basically competitive advantages. Advantages that other companies in that sector or other companies cannot easily overtake. They're sort of protecting the company from the worst case scenario. For example, Warren Buffett invested in Gillette, a long term investor in Gillette. Even I believe even today he's holding his Gillette stock. He invested in Gillette because he knew the company has a monopoly in the shaving business. Whatever Gillette says to the men and the women in term like in shaving, they listen. That's the kind of belief he had in the company. Even he invested in Coca-Cola. And people can, he said, Warren Buffett once said, people can shift their food choices, but they will never shift what they drink. And over 100-year history that he observed, he invested in Coca-Cola. Investors in reality are not great risk takers. People generally think that the greatest investors are very big risk takers. Especially in India, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who is a very good, he's the best trader and investor in India. People generally think that he took a lot of risk to make this money in the stock market. But in reality, they are risk calculators. They know how to calculate their risk and minimize it to a certain extent where they're very comfortable with it. Basically, as an investor, if you are not comfortable with what you own and you won't be able to hold that investment if it goes down 25% the following year, don't buy individual stocks. Learn yourself as an investor before entering the market. Learn what your rationalities are, what your irrationalities are before you begin to invest in the stock market. You should also have a checklist of companies. Basically, what all criterias your companies need to meet. I will give you an example which the author gave in the book. He has given 4 examples. If you go through the book, you will find those examples which are very well written. One example he gave was about a company he invested in called Tupperware. We all know about that plastic company, Tupperware. So Tupperware was a huge company in the 1990s. High margins, their gross profits were very high. The company had a monopoly. There were no people who were making sealed containers like Tupperware. That's why Guy Spear invested in the company. But things seemed good, but in reality, they were not good. The reason was plastics is not a very specialized business. They were not doing something that was highly specialized, and their moat was very shallow. Like anyone can make a plastic container. And soon many companies came in and they took over Tupperware's share, and the cost went down. Initially, their gross profits were very high because no one was making plastic containers and people were willing to pay more. But now no one is willing to pay that much amount for the same product which is available much cheaper from other competitors. That's when he made his first checklist. His first checklist was that all the value systems should be given equal rights and importance. Let me give you an example. Let's take an example of Walmart. In Walmart, the suppliers are happy because they're given everything at a cost which is good for them, not because the price is very high, but because of the sheer volume they sell. Basically, the supplier who's giving to Walmart sells a lot of product. Number two, since the supplier sells a lot of product, he's giving it at a cheaper price to Walmart. which is benefiting as more customers are coming in because the product is cheap. So the company Walmart, the suppliers, and the customers, all three are happy. That means the value chain is extremely happy. If you look at Tupperware, the company was doing well, the suppliers were happy, but the customers were not really very happy because they were overpaying for a product. When the customer's rights are not given due importance, he said, I will never invest in such a company again. That is his first checklist. And like this, he made many other checklists, not looking at his own mistakes, but looking at other investors' mistakes made by Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. And believe me, you will find a lot of mistakes of these investors too. In the end, he just has a few certain points he gave, which he follows in the stock market so that he's able to enhance his returns. Number one, he says do not look at the stock price frequently. And there is no point looking at the stock price every day. Even if you look at the stock price once a month, that's fine because the story of a stock is not in the stock price or what the ticker symbol is saying or reading. The real story will come after every quarter where you can analyze it, go through the annual report. Value investing is a very slow process, it's not a very fast process. And today I'm talking about value investing. It does not mean I'm advocating that all of you should become value investors. Realize who you are. Are you a value investor? Are you a short term investor? Are you a do you want to invest in some particular industries you know? Are you a trader? In trading, are you a short term trader or are you a swing trader who takes monthly swings or who's trading like in a longer time frame? Understand who you are as a person before entering the stock market. That's the only line, if you want to take away from this video, you should take away. So basically this was all about in this video about this book. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and I hope you have a great day. I will post more about trading and investing and stock market in the coming days. Have a great day. Jai Hind.